Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 14 of Sunday Football with Dr. Kenya Oscar Radoli, and
Dave Charlie from the north.
Dave Charlie. How's it going, brother?
My brother, man, it's been a COVID just different world, man. But you know what? I'm living it. I'm doing the best I can, and I hope that your family's doing the best that they can.
Yes, they are. We're looking forward to the Pfizer vaccine, at least here in North America. I know in the UK, our peeps there already begun the vaccination process. So hopefully that's done here shortly as well.
See, as you know, as America and Canada, we're the former colonies, so obviously we're always going to be second. We're never going to be first.
Stubborn, stubborn, stubborn. But hey, this is week 14. I personally think week 14 starts really becoming the best weekend of football, because this is where now teams are separating. This is when we're really getting to see what the playoffs will look like. But before we jump into the week 14 games, let's talk about the games we predicted or we called out last week as the main games on Sunday. We talked about Rams and Cardinals, and we also talked about Buffalo Bills versus 49ers. Let's start with Rams and Cardinals. That game was 38-28 to the Rams. How did that game go, Dave?
Whew. That Rams defense is playing at a different level, man. And they made Kyler Murray really work. It's Donaldson. I don't know if there's any better player in the NFL than defensive end Aaron Donaldson. He's just so good, and it's just even watching him Thursday night. Watching him Thursday night against Cam Newton. He made Cam Newton throw an interception that went for a pick six. And people are going to say it's Cam Newton's fault. No, it's Aaron Donaldson. And he did that to Kyler Murray last week. That Rams defense is unbelievable. And again, if Jared Goff, remember we talked about it, if Jared Goff doesn't turn the ball over, Rams are going to win.
Right.
Jared Goff didn't turn the ball over, Rams won.
Let's switch over to the next game. Buffalo Bills versus 49ers. You and I talked about this one. Initially, I said 49ers need to win this game in order to keep the playoff hopes alive. And you mentioned, well, the Bills need this game too as well. How did that game go?
Josh Allen, probably one of his best games ever. This guy, poise, completions, the amount of first downs that he had. Josh Allen just commanded the game, and it ended up being a blowout. Josh Allen was too good. Josh Allen was fantastic on the day. And again, the NFL is in good hands. When you got quarterbacks, players like Josh Allen, then you got oh, wide receivers like Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
This game it's in good hands. And it's nice for another team outside of New York instead of the New York Giants and the New York Jets. The Buffalo Bills are the teams of New York. It's the team of New York.
The Buffalo
Beautiful.
Bills on a roll. Okay. Then
And they
roll.
need to win. And they need to win this weekend. And you know that, right? They need to win
That's it.
this weekend.
Because if you think about it, they're on a
Who they?
roll. They just smoked the 49ers. They played the Steelers Sunday night. And what I do know right now is it's weird to watch the Steelers play because it looks like the Steelers have abandoned their running game. And if you abandon that running game, that's how they lost to Washington last week. Now, until last week or until week 13, the Steelers were undefeated. Then they met Washington. Okay. Again, we shall talk about the NFC East, but Washington managed to beat the Steelers. What are your
So
thoughts about that?
before we even talk about beating the Steelers, Washington beating them, the record was stupid. When I say stupid, the numbers are stupid. Pittsburgh had never given up a 14-point lead at the half, because that's what they had, except for one time in their history.
Okay.
In 78 years of playing football.
78 years.
14 points given up once where they've lost at halftime. Well, now they got two. Washington was amazing. But again, Mike Tomlin said it the week before, we're not good enough, we're not playing well enough, and if we keep on playing like this, this will happen. And they've kept on playing like this. And the question for Pittsburgh has always been this: who have they played? Who have they played? That 10 and 0 record, 11 and 0 record was who have they played? And outside of Tennessee and Baltimore, everybody else was not really somebody that you could say that, whoa, really, really good.
I can definitely chime in here because there needs to be a balance between the run and the air attack.
Yeah.
The Steelers have been known, right? They have been known for having a very strong running game. This goes way back to the era of Jerome Bettis, the era of Franco Harris, the era of John Henry Johnson. Like generations and generations. Steeler football has been about dominating the run, breaking down the spirit of a man. Let me tell you, David, if a man runs into you and moves you at will, it's not a very, very refreshing thing. If people can move you at will, right, it crushes the spirit, right? It crushes your heart.
You wake up with cold sweats even when you're not on the field.
Now, if you look at the Steelers today, Ben Roethlisberger is averaging, this little dinky
45 passes.
Right.
He's throwing 45 times, 45 to 50 times a game.
That's a lot.
But remember, this game.
Hang on. Let me just finish my point. Yeah, I'm just wrapping up my point here. If your whole ethos has been we're going to run and we're going to pass, it's always been balanced.
Yes.
I think it throws them because we're seeing receivers dropping passes, and on record it looks so bad, but they're being targeted more than other wide receivers in the league. So my point I'm trying to make here is if you continue playing like this, it's going to be hard to win games the way you used to win games. That's all I'm saying. If they find that balance, all well and good. Go ahead, Dave.
It is hard because their number one running back hasn't been able to make it back on the field, and I'm not sure exactly what the issue is. I don't know whether it's COVID related or it's an injury, but Connor has not been able to make it back on the field. He wasn't in the game. He wasn't in the game before. So that, may have an effect. But at the same time, Mike Tomlinson has been quoted as, if they don't catch routine passes, they will be replaced. That's what he said about his receivers.
Yeah. Well,
so I don't know what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I love watching them. I just don't know what's going on with them. I can't put my finger on it.
I believe if they find the balance, they become a difficult team to win. Right? If they're not running, if they find the balance, it becomes a difficult team to beat. It's hard to beat the Steelers, right?
But in December, you and I both know, in December, if you can't run the ball, you're not going to win. It's December, man. Yeah. I don't care where you go, whether it's Florida, what, this and that. The month of December is about giving the ball to that running back, and if you're not doing that, you're not going to win very much. So
let's
smash mouth football.
We talked about Washington, and we talked about the NFC East. I personally, you and I have talked about this. This has been the disaster of the NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, Washington, Dallas Cowboys. Start with
So
the
you
Eagles.
just think about this. So Doc, 4 weeks ago, Philadelphia winning the division, even though playing like uh, I don't even know how to describe it. Playing like cockroaches. Playing like cockroaches. Top of the division. No matter how many times they lost, as long as everybody was losing, that was all good. But guess what? After this weekend, the Giants beat Seattle. They with a backup quarterback, they make Russell look like he belongs in witness protection program. This is what they made Russell look like.
Because they were after
That
him.
Giants defense. Oh my gosh. They hit him. They did everything. And this is after Russell and DK Metcalf came into the Lincoln Financial and destroyed the Eagles
They
to the
did.
point where Russell's responsible for Carson losing his job. Carson doesn't
Yeah.
have a
They
job. Carson
annihilated them.
Wentz, we got Jalen Hurts. My Eagles have Jalen Hurts. And after thinking about it, listening to pundits all week, this and that, we've all come to a conclusion. You know what? To play against New Orleans this weekend, it's the 425 game. Does Carson give us the best option or does Jalen Hurts? We looked at Carson's body of work and we all in a consensus are like, no, Jalen Hurts gives us the best shot. So I don't know what this does for Carson. Eagles, they're in turmoil. Their GM might be fired because he passed on DK Metcalf. I mean, really? How do you pass on DK Metcalf in the draft?
I think the program. I think the problem is bigger here, Dave, because Carson just got an extended contract,
No,
and
he
if it's
didn't
not
just get it.
working out,
He didn't just get it. He got it 2 years ago.
relatively,
But the
relatively
money's kicking in now, but he got the contract 2 years ago.
okay. So, with all that money that you're giving him, if it's not working out, it also means it's not working out with the coach.
Absolutely.
Somebody's
I agree with you.
so if you change Carson, it means somebody has to go home, right? And then if that happens, what does it do for the franchise, right? Because part of the success of a franchise is the stability. Yeah, let's go back to the Steelers, right? The stability of a franchise is based on how you do business, right?
Yes.
Even the players believe I've come to a good place where my career is taken care of, right?
Absolutely.
So if that if Carson Wentz is not working out, that's a major mistake that has been made at the board level or the executive levels, right? And if you decide to cut the coach, cut or sell Carson Wentz, again you're in that stage again of a business of not being certain what you're going to do next. Not good for a franchise.
Not good for a franchise.
That has established itself as, a reputable franchise.
2017 Super Bowl champions.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, without Carson Wentz.
Okay, we've talked about
that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
Okay, we're going to move on because we have other fans here also who who tune into what we do here. So we've talked about the Eagles, talked about the Giants, talked about Washington. Let's touch briefly about the Cowboys. Okay.
Yes.
Again, they also belong in the NFC East disaster of the NFC East. What are your thoughts there? We have an injured quarterback. What's the news out of that camp?
Jerry Jones did Dak Prescott wrong. That's all I got to say. And then, you know how karma works. Dak Prescott got hurt, and now Jerry Jones is seeing what his team looks like without Dak Prescott.
Mm.
Dak Prescott is a hell of a quarterback. And that's a lot coming from an Eagles fan.
Mhm.
Dak Prescott is a hell of a quarterback. They should have paid him his money. The the Dallas Cowboys are America's joke right now. And they should not be America's joke because they have a ton of talent. I know they've got injuries. I get it. The whole league has injuries, but it's management. They cannot get out of their own way. Their management is worse than the Eagles' management.
Mm.
Jerry Jones, all of them, they don't know how to put a team together that can go through the day-to-day grind and produce results one after the other. Inconsistency is their name. They
Right.
look good, then they're shit. They look good, then they're crap. I don't understand the Cowboys. And it hurts me because I, as much as I like to see them lose, I need them to be competitive because when they're competitive, the Eagles are good. You know what I mean? The Eagles are great.
I think what you're saying is almost like every fan. These are professionals. You want to see a good professional game.
Absolutely.
It's almost like when we watched that game of the Las Vegas versus
Kansas City.
Kansas City,
What a
and
game.
and the loss was, we said this was a fantastic loss, but because it was an exciting game.
Absolutely. The NFC East is historical. Some of the games, just put it this way, the Dallas Cowboys are responsible for knocking out the San Francisco 49ers out of multiple historical NFC championship games, and then they go to the Super Bowl. I just want you to understand that.
Right.
That is the history of the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm.
And today, they are non existent. It's painful to watch. It really is.
Right. So a lot needs to go in that locker room, that management team they've sorted out for 2021. Let's move over to our last block. Our Monday night football game. We decided also to share with our audience about Monday night. We have Cleveland Browns versus Baltimore Ravens. David, why is this a big game?
So we've got the Baker versus the Scrambler. Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson.
Let's
Lamar
unpack.
Jackson, last year's MVP.
Okay, so
But
let's
think about
unpack
that.
that. Okay, so let's
Think about
let's unpack that. Go ahead.
it. The Cleveland Browns, for the first time in God knows how many years, are going to have a winning season. They can't have a losing season. They're going to have a winning season. It's historical. But at the same time, Lamar Jackson and the lovely Baltimore, they are going back to Cleveland to, whew, I don't even know how to say it's an emotional game. That's all I got to say. Monday night's an emotional game. And both teams, this is divisional. The winner is going to be behind the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of playoff.
Mm.
Right now, Cleveland's ahead of Baltimore. So this game decides who gets the wild card. That's
Okay.
what this game decides. That's
Okay.
what's at stake.
So for me to add on more context into that is, like you mentioned, this is a divisional rivalry game. For a long time, the Browns have been like the baby brothers of Baltimore Ravens. So pretty much in that division, the Browns have always been last,
Yeah, the last 20 years.
and that's a long time, almost 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
So this time around, Baltimore Ravens were the original Cleveland football team that
Yeah.
left. So it's like going back home, right? And here's a baby brother who's just come from a very impressive win against the Titans, right? Last week, the Browns had a very impressive win. 41-35 was a score.
What a
And
game.
yes,
What a
again,
game.
the first half was flawless for Cleveland. But I don't think Cleveland are not used to being ahead in the half. Second half, they were like, wait a minute, what do we do next?
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine the conversation in that locker room, right? Every halftime you've gone to in your whole career or Cleveland's career, they're all the time behind, right? 20 years, most of the halftime talks. What do you need to do to come from behind to try and win a game? Now they're ahead, and they had a very big score at halftime. Anyway, so I bring this back to the game. Coming from that win in the game against Baltimore, if Cleveland Browns play a dominant game like they did against the Titans and come up with a win, it's a statement also of where this club is going, where this unit is going. That ship maybe has turned around or starts turning around to having winning seasons. Like you've said, in the last 20 years, they've never had a winning season.
I want you to take this nugget. Ever since Odell Beckham has had a season-ending injury, Cleveland Browns have come together and they're producing this kind of football. So just a nugget for our viewers to understand. Odell Beckham Jr. is rehabbing from a season-ending injury. He's no longer part of the team, and this team has been able to find a way to give it to Nick Chubb. They've got what's his name from that came from Kansas City that we all were crazy about, and then they let him go because he had some off the field issues. Cleveland picked him up. So they got two running backs that can run the ball. Like just give it to them. But Nick Chubb is a beast. Nick Chubb, he's a fantasy highlight. And then their wide receivers, just everybody running their routes. Baker Mayfield not turning the ball over. Their defense, Myles Garrett, needs to contain Lamar Jackson. That's all they need to do. And Cleveland is in the playoffs. But I don't know if they can stop Lamar Jackson.
They stopped the number one running back last week of the Titans, Henry, right?
They stopped Derrick Henry.
They dropped Henry dead, turnover, right?
But think about that.
So
Derrick Henry is the running back. Lamar Jackson is the quarterback. He's going to give it to his running back and then take it back. You know what I mean? Play action, run option. Huh? And then they're going to bite, and then he's going to go. You saw him do that against Dallas. Lamar killed Dallas with that. And I don't know if the Cleveland defense is mature enough to see and understand all the looks that Lamar is going to give them. That's all.
Right. So it's worth watching. I'm glad the game's on Monday night, right? It's a chance for the whole nation to actually watch this game.
Prime time.
Right.
Prime time.
So before we wrap up, before we close, what do you think that score is going to be? Well, not score. What do you think? Who's going to be the winner? Who's going to be the loser of that game?
I think the fact that it's in Cleveland, I give the game to Baltimore by 3.
Yeah. I'm leaning Baltimore just because Baltimore have been in this space for a long time, winning against the Browns. There's that thing you have. We know what to do, right?
I won't be surprised if Cleveland wins, but I'm leaning with Baltimore because Lamar Jackson is the reigning MVP, and he understands that this is put up or shut up time. You know what I mean? Put up or shut up time. December football.
We're going to leave it there. I want to say thank you very much for our listeners. Listen, keep subscribing, keep sharing with us your thoughts, your accolades. We really appreciate it. Dave and I, every time we do this, we really, really have a good time. We just love connecting. We're very reachable people. We're very approachable people, and we appreciate and love what we do.
It's a privilege, and we don't take it for granted. So thank you for being a part of our family. We're here with you, just two African brothers doing what we do.
Talking about football.
You You got it, dog.
Two black men doing what?
Talking about football.
Hey, guys. Thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen. Have a good one. Hopefully your teams win. Those that lose, hey, it's football Sunday. And now we're talking about Monday football.
Peace.
Cheers, Dave. Peace.
Cheers.